Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of hot tea with snacks if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman who demanded OP let her kid watch a movie with them, but she didn't know where it goes. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. Some context before we begin, my mother was incredibly abusive to me growing up, not just physically but also mentally and emotionally. So much so that my therapist believes she's the reason I have DID and is behind most of my depression. Also, I'm getting a cat when I come home from my trip in August. This will come back in a stupid way. So this happened about a week ago. I currently planning a trip to see my dad and my best friend. I'll be gone for a week. When my mom found out about this trip she started asking me a bunch of questions. Some of them were normal, like how long are you going? Or are you staying with your dad? She also asked why I'm going to see my dad. Now this may seem odd at first, but I understand why she asked this, because my dad didn't tell me about my grandfather's funeral. Which yes I am mad about still, but I understand why it happened. He just lost his father shortly after he just got remarried. And with the way the world is right now, he wasn't sure I would be able to make it. Now I haven't fully forgiven him, but my dad owned up to his mistake, apologized, is taking me to see my grandpa's grave, and is giving me the family sword which he got from my grandfather. So all of that I could understand, but then she started questioning my best friend, asking if we were dating or if I was interested in dating her, stuff like that. Normally this would be a problem, but with everything my mom did to me and her refusal to even acknowledge any of it, I didn't want to answer any questions about my love life. So I told her, I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable talking to you about that stuff. Since we aren't that close. We talked for a few minutes before she left and I thought nothing of it. But when I looked on Facebook, she posted about how I was so mean to her and couldn't have a normal conversation with my mother. My sisters all started asking me about what happened and I told them. They all said the same thing, well, I understand, but she is your mom and she loves you. You should just tell her. All but one who has always had my back. My sister offered to take me to the airport, so I didn't have got an Uber or deal with my mom. Again, my mom found out my sister was taking me. My mother was upset about this and asked why I didn't ask her to take me. I told her my sister offered because I was payback for watching her dog earlier that month. Which was true, but not the whole truth. To which my mother demanded I give her my key to my apartment while I'm gone so she can clean it. I told her that was not going to happen and my apartment did need to be cleaned. She started yelling about how I'm your mother, I deserve a key to your apartment. Now normally when I deal with her, I try to keep calm, but I had just worked a 12-hour shift at work and was tired and just wanted to take a shower. So I told her in a slightly aggressive tone, no. You don't deserve a key to my apartment. You don't pay my rent or my bills. You didn't co-sign the lease, my father did. If anyone deserves a key to my place, it's him. She got quite for a minute and said, well, if you don't give me a key you can't get a cat. I just started to laugh at her after this. She asks, what's so funny? I told her, Ma. You don't control me at all, I live alone. And second off, I'm already getting a cat when I come home, and on top of that you're allergic to cats. So how are going to stop me? She starts screaming how she said I can't get cat, blah blah blah. I'm done at this point, so I just say, I'm done with this. I'm going upstairs to my apartment. I'm going on my trip and I will be getting a cat when I come back. There is nothing you can do or say to change that. And in fact, if you keep doing this, you will no longer be welcome in my life. She gets quiet and after a minute she goes, fine. But we'll be talking about this when you get home. Whatever, Mom. I go upstairs and go to bed. I haven't heard her say anything since then. Oh, and by the way, yes, there is something romantic between me and my best friend. We're actually going on a date when I get there and are talking about moving in together. So wish me luck. Make sure your landlord knows your mom wants in your apartment and you don't want her there. She might try some lie to get him to let her in. If she's really nuts, she might even try getting the police to let her in. A Hospital EM story. I'm currently working as a professional mental health nurse. This incident took place back when I was a student nurse and was posted in the pediatric ward. We had a boy in the general ward who had been admitted with a case of viral fever, I think. By the time I started my posting, he had been there for about 3 or 4 days. As soon as entered the ward, the EM hounded me. Excuse me? I have been saying the same thing over and over again, but you people just don't listen. Do you? Well, hello ma'am. I'm sorry, what seems to be the problem here? This is my first day here and I don't really know. Well then why are you here if you don't know anything? Go back and send someone who's not as stupid as you. Though I highly doubt anyone in this hospital really has a brain. I apologize again ma'am, but if could just tell me what's wrong, then I might be able to sort it out. Well, I've been telling you people for the past few days that my son doesn't like apple juice, he likes orange juice, and you should give him that. But nobody's listening to me. He's still getting apple juice. And even that is of really bad quality. Okay, it seems that the good folks down in the kitchen have it wrong. Don't worry, ma'am, I'll consult with a nutritionist, and we'll have this sorted out in no time. EM just scoffed and marched away. I talked with a nutritionist and asked why the kid was being forced to take apple juice when he didn't like it. But she told me that the kid wasn't getting apple juice. In fact, he wasn't getting juice at all. He was getting milk with almost every meal. Now I was confused. I talked to the M and she shouted at me how I was stupid like the rest of the staff. Just then, breakfast arrived. Sure enough, the kid had milk and not juice. Ma'am, the nutritionist suggested milk for your kid and that's what he's getting. He's not getting apple juice. No, you idiot, he gets that with his lunch and not breakfast. Deciding to see what the issue was once and for all, I promised her I'll come back at lunchtime to settle the issue. Lunch arrived and the kid got, you guessed it, milk. I again pointed this out to EM and she said the kid gets the apple juice after the lunch. Okay what? I was really puzzled then. Just then, a nurse arrived to administer the afternoon medications. See now he'll be getting that nasty apple juice. Just then, the nurse hung a bag of saline by the kid's bedside and injected a vial of MVI, multivitamin infusion, in it and connected it with the kid's IV line. The MVI injections we had in our hospital were yellow colored and smelled like someone just poofed 3 days worth of tacos. And that's when I had the epiphany of what had been EM's issue. And being the considerate creature she was, she confirmed my suspicions with a horrible screech. See, I told you. Apple juice. Nasty smelling apple juice. Well, say something. Ma'am, that's not apple juice. It's an injection, don't you dare lie to me. Everybody else has been saying the same thing, but I know the truth. You people have orange juice, I've seen it. Give my son that. Put orange juice in that bag. All subsequent attempts to explain to her failed. She screamed loudly and disturbed other patients as well. The attending physician heard all the commotion and came to see what the matter was. He also tried to explain that her son was in fact been given an injection, but she refused to believe that we weren't injecting her son with apple juice and that juice couldn't be given intravenously. Fine. If this is apple juice, then I supposed you wouldn't mind a taste. And with that the awesome doc disconnected the IV line, poured some of that nasty apple juice in a plastic cup and shoved it under EM's nose, who promptly gagged. Oh please. Have some juice and we'll give your son a different one. You like it, I promise. Naturally EM refused. She never asked for orange juice again. But I heard from other patients that the EM had been blabbering about suing us for injecting her son with bad quality apple juice and then making a fool of her. And that's the true reason, folks, why Thanos wanted to eradicate us. Maybe he had a one too many encounters with unhinged EPs. Holy crap, the stupid in this story is just off the charts. I wouldn't be surprised if she said something like, orange juice is very acidic, so please inject citric acid directly into my son's veins. Background. This is at the library again, where I'm with two friends, Kylie and Logan, not real names. I have ADHD and Asperger syndrome, and I get nervous when in confrontations. I'm a 17-year-old boy, my friends are both 16. This is my very first encounter with an EP, back when I had sensory issues. Story time. So during summer vacation, I went to the library for a while with Kylie and Logan. I checked out 5 movies, all of which are violent, and we were planning on watching 2, so we watched the first film, which I believe was Gotham by Gaslight, which is a steampunk Batman movie. EK must have noticed that we were watching Batman, because next thing I know, all I hear is cast, me, K, Kylie, L, Logan, EK and EM. Batman, what the hell was that? Kylie is Irish American. Hell if I know. EK finally appears like a freaking roadrunner. Can I watch Batman? What? I saw you watching Batman. We finished the movie and we're going to watch something else, can you please go? I start fidgeting and getting nervous. Calm down. It's the kid. Suddenly appears. Can you let my son watch the next film? He's probably old enough to watch it, kid is 7 or 8. Ma'am. It's probably best if he doesn't. He literally had me have a sensory issue, and I don't have any films that are. You are going to let him watch whatever you're going to be watching next. I don't care if you had a heart attack because of him. Listen here, you sleazeball. My friend has a form of autism, and your kid made him have a sensory overload. Shut up, which I was talking to the dumb. Can you promise that you will grab the kid and leave us alone after the film ends? Whatever. Fine. Only one film, and we get to choose. Yay. I left a book by the game consoles, could you grab it, EK? If you don't find it after 5 minutes, come back. Okay. EK runs off. What should we watch? As revenge for my sensory overload, Brawl in Cell Block 99. If you don't know what this film is, look it up. It's very violent. A guy gets decapitated by a guy shoving his head in a squatty potty and then stepping on it. Okay. EK, yeah. My friend told me that he grabbed it, come back. EK runs back. I put the disc in. Since there isn't room, K sits EK on her lap. The film is around 90 minutes long. Once the film finishes, we talk and EK runs off. There we go. Yeah. It's 5 p.m, let's go to 7-Eleven. Okay. When we walk out the library, we see EM and EK. EK looks at me and is running towards me and starts screaming. EM follows suit. This gives me a massive panic attack and sensory breakdown, and I curl up into a ball and start crying. Kylie tries to help me, but gets pushed away by EM. Logan tries to help, but EK headbutts him. How dare you show my precious son that? Get up, you dumb. Leave him alone, you've done enough. Shut up, you witch. Screw you. Please help me, please help me. You're illiterate. Now you screwed up. I get up and, in a rage, grab EK and push him away before grabbing EM, who immediately scratches my face and screams, causing me to curl up into a ball and have a sensory breakdown. She really scratched me hard as I saw blood on the ground. Suddenly, a cop appears. Lady, get on the ground. Thank God you're here, he. Now. EM then gets cuffed and taken away. C2, who turns out to be a family friend of my family, walks to me, still curled up into a ball and still crying. OP, are you okay? Sobbing and unable to speak. I need an ambulance. It doesn't look serious. It's just in case. Okay, copy. Is it over? What? He asked if it's over. You understand his gibberish. It's not gibberish, it's Irish Gaelic dialect. It's over. C2 is pretty much a bodybuilder. He lifts me up and gets me onto a bench. The ambulance arrives, and I get checked out. The EMTs say that I'm fine, and the scratches will go away. I'm asked if I want to press charges. I said yes. She paid for emotional distress, which I only asked for a small amount of money. I didn't care about the rest. Don't you love it when EPs get the cops involved, expect them to arrest the OP, and then watch their face go from smug to horror as they get arrested instead? This woman is too screwed up. In the mid-90s, my sister and I had taken our kids to a fundraiser at their grade school. There were game and craft booths in the gym, and in the cafeteria they were selling cake and ice cream. Homemade cake slices on little paper plates. This was only $1 and awesome. I was ahead of my sister and managed to grab the last piece of chocolate cake they had. Now, both my sister and I think that if you are going to go to the trouble of making cake, then it had to be chocolate. Other kinds of cake are okay, but chocolate is the ultimate. We even had a rating system for cake, 1 through 10, with 10 being the best. My sister wasn't all that happy that there was no more chocolate cake, but I got there first, so Naya. Because of this, she didn't bother getting cake for herself. We found a place to sit down, and I put my precious cake on the table in front of me. Almost immediately, this strange lady reached for my cake. She had to have been following me closely. I quickly moved it to the left of me out of her reach and gave her what the hell, lady. Look. The lady said. My son wants this. There's no more chocolate ones up there. She actually stepped over to where she could reach for it again, and I slid the cake over to my right, in front of my sister, again out of the lady's reach. I said. No. This is mine. I paid for it. Go get your own. This lady then got angry. My son doesn't like the other kinds there. She pointed to a kid that looked to be about 4 or 5 that was sniffling sadly behind her. Just give it to me. Once again she reached for it and my sister picked it up and held it away from her. Then my sister asked, "This cake here? You want this piece of cake right here?" The angry lady then said, "Yes, don't be stupid. My son wants it, you can get another piece. Now hand it to me." For a moment, I thought my sister was going to throw the cake at the angry lady or pick it up and just put the plateless cake in the lady's hand. But what happened next was worse. My sister licked the top of the cake a couple of times. The angry lady stared at her in shocked disbelief for a few seconds, then began shouting insults. She called my sister childish and immature, while the kid standing behind the woman began to wail and sob loudly. Then the lady stomped off into the crowd, dragging her crying son with her. My sister then turned to face me, smiled and held out the cake to me. I silently stared at her with one eyebrow raised and made no move to take it. "Oh, you don't want it now either?" she asked sweetly. I remained staring at her and didn't reply. She grinned and said, "Cool. I'll take it." She then proceeded to happily eat my chocolate cake, making a point to tell me how good it was. She said, "I think this one just might be a 9. But that might be the victory flavoring it. Sometimes you just can't win. As long as the EP did not get what they want, it's always a win." Perhaps a bigger win for the sister in this case though. She's a genius. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman with a kid who refused to wear a mask, threatened managers, and it decided that store is a bathroom. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.